I get shit done, I have fun. It's my time and I'm the one. I'm breaking through.
Hey, hello and welcome. Magnetizing yourself to magic. Interesting topic. I'm looking forward to exploring that with my wonderful guest when I get her on here. But before I do that, hey, if you're watching us today live, thank you for being here. We greatly appreciate it. And if you're unable to see us live but are catching us on a replay, we're also appreciate you taking the time to pop in and say hi. Tell us where you are and go #replay. And I'm going to do a shameless plug. I was just hanging out with a bunch of these wonderful people, and let's just have a look. There's two of us. But
There's two of us. Surprise!
How are you today?
How are you? You're back.
I'm back. I know.
You're back. How was New Orleans?
It was wonderful. The food was fantastic. Weather was warmer. Learned tons, and was able to showcase a client of mine that was inspirational to the audience, and got a lot of great reviews about that. But also, it was probably the best conference that I've gone to with Focal Point in many years. And I don't think that's just because we had that blip where we weren't able to get together face to face. I think that added to it, but it was really well thought out, well planned, and some really good presentations and presenters to share their knowledge. And I don't have it here, and I'm glad I don't have it here because you probably asked me to do it on the opening session, talking about magic. I'm going to practice it. We were all given our harmonica. One of our awesomest, wonderful coaches is a musician and a singer, and he loves playing the blues. And every time he comes to conference, he plays something. This year, he taught us how to play and it was in my head. It was, how did it go? I was going to try and whistle it. I can't remember what the name of the song is. But
great. So he gave you a harmonica?
He gave all of us a harmonica, like 150 of us there.
And did he ask you all to play at the same time?
Yeah, he taught us how to play.
So you were in a room full of 150 other coaches, all of you harmonica-ing?
Yeah, harmonica-ing.
I don't know what that word would be.
I have no idea.
Wow.
We were harmonicizing.
Wow. Wow. And what did that sound like?
Well, at first it sounded terrible. You know, it's like the 4 stages of learning, right? We don't know what we don't know. That's unconsciously incompetent. Well, we were all that. And then we moved quickly to knowing that we were incompetent. So that's consciously incompetent. And many of us stayed there because we didn't practice. But one of the coaches, one of the gals, she jumped in and made a commitment to actually do it. So that was on the Wednesday, and on Friday morning, she was brought up to the front and she played the song. I'm struggling to remember how it went. Anyway, yeah. So going through the cycle, where none of us at that point when we left became unconsciously competent. That takes time, takes effort, and takes practice. So it was a really good metaphor and a demonstration of the value of having a coach and knowing that magic happens with repetition, right?
Yeah. Magic happens. And that's part of our topic today.
It is.
Right?
It is.
Magnetizing.
We've just magnetized Eric Bam. He's a wonderful, highly energetic, highly effective VP of sales for a company that specializes in making pizzas that come to our house better. They don't make them, but they make them better. A little bit of magic that they do is they add a piece of paper underneath the pizza that's unlike anybody else's. There's a free plug for
There,
perfect
Eric.
pizzas.
Well,
Yeah,
hello, Eric. Thanks for coming.
yeah, that's magical.
It is magical. So, our topic is magnetizing for magic, right? Getting
Yeah,
things to attract to you, right? And it sounds like your conference did that it really gave you a great opportunity to feel like you wanted to come back.
yeah, and do some more, like it says in the intro. Get shit done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the most magnetizing item for you that went, oh, for sure I'm coming back?
Wow.
Because you have a lot to choose from, right? You have just that there was better talent there, that you felt more connected, that it was just well run.
Yeah, the food.
The food, well, New Orleans.
It was fabulous.
New
Um,
Orleans is known for great chefs.
yeah, there was some conversation about how can you leverage your business. So if you're an independent Soho operator, um, I know it doesn't matter what business you're in, and then actually it doesn't even matter if you're a single independent Soho operator. It could impact everybody and anybody. So where I'm going with this is what's the critical constraints. So that came out of the panel that talked about how do you scale your business. And there were some really interesting insights around that. When I was doing my due diligence with the Focal Point company of coaches, I got to meet, he's no longer with us, unfortunately, in the physical plane, but his wife still attends our conferences. I get to hang out with her a little bit and all of the great stuff that Cam Frazier brought to us. And when I was going through the process of deciding whether I should be or if I want to be or hang out with these guys or not, they did a session, and it's actually one of the sessions from our modules on in around clarity, and it's called critical constraints, and they're everywhere. And what do we do to broaden, expand, and sometimes narrow things down to get focused on getting more stuff done? And critical constraints is the thing that gets in the way of all of our lives. And it's what we do with them, and how do we open up? How do we get some magic happening so that we can get more stuff done, or get laser focused and stop trying every shiny object so that we can actually help more people, help ourselves live to our full potential. So I think that would probably be one of the biggest nuggets that I got from being there, was to reflect on all of that came out of that one panel.
So the magnetization of that really opened a door for you.
Yeah, a door that was there, but we get blind spots, scotomas,
Yes.
right? And those are also good for us because then it helps us stay focused. But if we get locked onto stuff, look at that not just a shiny object. It actually supports what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
It doesn't take us away.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've dedicated my life to prosperity and teaching it and growing it and working with people. And what I like about the subject, again, is letting, not so much just putting something out there, but really letting out there attract to you exactly where you need it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, you have to have that clear visualization, but you really want to be clear about what you're trying to attract.
Oh yeah, that's like that. What's one of the reasons why we're called Focal Point?
Yeah.
One of the metaphors. I don't know how many people have ever been out in the field with a magnifying, or outside with a magnifying glass. And if you harness the energy of the sun, you can make fire happen.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you can make things look bigger. That's a good thing too. But it's in that getting that energy and focusing it on one or two things to get the drive and passion and imagination to show up, so it invents and creates the way to the end result you're looking for. Right?
Right. Well, and the other thing is that when you look at magnetic items, right, something new is created. So when we pull those people towards us, because we are now connected, now it's something different, right? So if you take a magnet and stick it into a bucket of pins, that magnet doesn't look the same anymore.
Right.
And none of it works in the world the same way. You get to be different. And that's the fun of magnetism, to say, this is what I'm going to attract, because now when we're all glued together, we're something different.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking of those fiddleheads again.
And fiddlehead, for those of you who just joined us, that is a top of a fern.
You know what? Maybe I could try and figure out how to share that while we're doing this. But also, there was some magic that happened between you and I. And I believe we connected on LinkedIn, and I believed you reached out and had started the conversation.
Yes.
Because there was some kind of energetic thing happening that you saw. You reached out, and here we are. But we had a couple of conversations in the meantime, in between time. But here we are, and we're looking to do some interesting things, try things out this year. And one of the things that we're going to magically make happen is we're going to have some magic in May. If I can get it all put together, which I think we'll be able to do. And we're going to focus on the power of wow.
Yes.
Won't that be magical?
It'll be wow.
It'd be wow-chical.
As my wow.
Yes. So
it'll be wow.
We're going to have some panelists with us.
And you already have some of those picked out.
Yeah, I do. So
and can we just go real quick to the magic of wow?
Yeah.
How do we explain to everybody what wow is?
Yeah. Well, wow's a thing that shows up unexpectedly if you're in the service business and anything. But it's something that's over and beyond, above and beyond anything that you had ever thought of happening in your life. When it comes to commerce, it's getting more than what you paid for. And what's interesting, this is not new, although it's new to a lot of people, which is kind of sad. If you read and studied Think and Grow Rich, there's a principle in there. It says, do more than what you're paid for. And your life will be full of abundance. And don't be doing this. Don't be doing it on if I do this, I get that. Do it without any conditions attached to it, right? Just do it.
Just do it. Do it because it's creatively the right thing to do, or it's energetically or spiritually or emotionally the best thing to do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting is, there's an 80-20 rule. 80% of the population generate 80% of the results, whatever that is. And that also works out.
80-20 is 80% of the people produce. Say it again.
20% of the results, and 20% of the people create 80% of the results.
There you go.
Was I dyslexic?
Well, I am dyslexic, so watching you is fantastic.
Anyway, getting back to that, it even shows up in our closet. Now, where you and I live, we actually need to have more clothes than most people in the world because of the seasonal change. Winter is cold, and you need to address accordingly. And we get the occasional hot day, so you don't want to wear a winter coat in the summer. So we do need to change. But if you were to take the season, whether it be winter or summer, I know there's 4 seasons, but we only have 2. Hotter, colder.
Right.
And it could be in the winter, could be in the summer. Oh, no, I love where I live. It's Canada. But even our closets, I'm going to pick winter clothes because we're just coming out of winter. 80% of the clothes that we have in a closet don't get worn, and 20% do. So it's everywhere, right?
It's everywhere.
Everywhere. And it's kind of sort of magical. So getting back to Think and Grow Rich, if you do more than you're paid for, if you're in that 20% club, then you'll be noticed. And what I've noticed in noticing people is that the people who do more without any conditions, or, like I did this and nobody noticed, we'd like to get a pat on the back. There's nothing wrong with it. And actually, we should do that more often also, because it generates its own magic. But doing it because it's the right thing to do to serve people. You may not get a promotion in the company that you're in. You might. but other people will notice and they'll be reaching out to try and get you if it's a career sort of situation that we're talking about.
Well, and you see magnetism everywhere,
Yeah.
right? That it either works or it doesn't. If we were at an event the other day helping someone relaunch, and somebody said, "Wow, I really love your energy," and we see it in our energy. We see you. You just are that. You are that thing. That you will attract what it is that you are made of.
Yeah. Have you heard of T. Harv Eker?
No, tell me that.
Well, he has a really interesting quote all around what we're talking about. Doesn't even use the word magic, but it is magical. Where thoughts go, energy flows and results show.
Yes.
That's really what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and in business, what I like about it as a concept is I think people are afraid to grow because they're like, oh my gosh, then everything's going to be here. And what I have to kind of remind them about is that no, actually, the more clear you get on what you're trying to do, the more clear that you are of this is the thing I'm here to do. This is the thing I'm here to do. This is the thing I'm here to do. All the other things will fall away because they won't stick to you because they don't fit.
Yeah.
That being magnetic is also about understanding that 90% of the world doesn't apply to you. It doesn't apply to you, but you have to be really clear enough so that the 10% that does apply to you sticks. It sticks to you. It finds you. It can come towards you, and you have to make an opening for that.
Do those people seem to be lighter? Have they expressed that in any way to you?
I think that knowing that the things that aren't for you can't come in is freeing. The more that you are you, the more the light that should be yours is there. And in a business model, right? If you go into a store and they only sell furniture, you're not going to look for a pack of gum. It's just a
You're
clear, it's just clear, right? Nobody's going into a furniture store looking for a pack of gum.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And so the furniture store has to be really clear. And if they're going to sell one kind of furniture, like modern furniture, that's all that's going to come in are people who are attracted to that item. They become a magnetic place for everything that's modern. And they'll attract like minds.
First time I heard any of this was back in the late 70s, a few decades ago. And it was by Leland Val Vanderwall. And he was talking about that birds of a feather flock together, like eagles fly with eagles and seagulls fly with seagulls. And crows try to pick on eagles and eagles just go higher. They
Mhm.
can get to a higher altitude and the crows fall off because they can't.
Can't.
It's magical.
It's magic. But when we look at it in growth in business, people are really like, oh my gosh, everyone's my client. No, they're not. Or that if I put this offer out, then everyone's going to want it. No, they won't. And it's also understanding how to do all of the things in your business that make you magnetic, that use the words that are appropriate, that
Yeah,
that are keywords.
I love what you're saying there. I've also seen the opposite side of that, where people are afraid to let go of all the things that they're doing. And their passion is in particular, I'm going to pick on a sign related company. I'll leave them nameless. But their passion was three-dimensional signage on the back of the reception area or on the outside, telling the story by
Mm,
three-dimensional letters, not building sandwich board signs that were that's not where their passion was, but they're not in business anymore, this
mm,
company, because they were trying to be everything to everybody. And they were afraid that if they didn't do the inexpensive, low margin, low value sandwich board signs, and they are important, but people, what I recall them saying is those people would come in at the last minute. They weren't strategic, they were tactical, and they need it right away, which puts pressure on the company, the sign company, to because their values will have to serve everybody. So because they tried to serve everybody, they hardly served anybody. And they didn't do it, made their heart sing. They didn't do a lot of the three-dimensional signage that they really loved doing. And
that is magic.
yeah, they would have been happier, probably made more money, been able to serve people in a better way than what they were able to do based on the way they were running their business.
Now, as a coach, you have thoughts on this.
I have what?
As a coach, you have thoughts on this too, right? As a guide, because you know the outcome, right? The outcome is, right, create from a certain place and you'll be more satisfied.
Yeah.
But you'll also have more money in the bank.
Yeah, and then you can do more. And I've heard some people say, well, money's not important to me. I don't do this for the money. I think they're kidding themselves if that's what they're thinking. And they have some challenges around the currency of money. It's just energy. It's just a way to transfer value for services. And it's an easy way to barter to barter. Because one of the stories I heard is imagine you're hunting and you need arrows. And you trade arrows, your kill for arrows. Well, they've got enough food that they don't want to make you any more arrows because you're out of arrows because there's no currency of exchange. So money is that currency. You don't have to have arrows for meat. You could have meat for coaching, right?
Right.
Because you change it to money. So the money allows us to do more stuff. And
what is my favorite saying, right? Money only buys you one thing. It's going to buy you some choices.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely.
And
so if you
give choices.
Yeah. You know what happened? No, you don't. Well, I don't know why I asked. I hate that question when it's asked.
Do you know what happened? No, but I'm about to find out.
You're about to find out. I had a really wonderful time in New Orleans. I even think I'm learning how to say it properly.
You're doing great.
Anyway, man, I haven't traveled for so long, so the habit of being an efficient and effective traveler went out the window. I forgot razors and something else. Oh, hair stuff. I know I don't have much hair, but I have to keep it in place where it is. And I forgot to do that, so I stopped on the way to the airport, picked up some stuff, and made to the flight. On the way back, I continued that sort of thing. I was tired. Our flight was delayed on the ground, which is a great place for it to be delayed because they can fix things if they're broken. The plane was not broken. They just didn't have a crew. They were coming from another place in Texas, or some San Antonio, Texas to New Orleans to come and fly us to Calgary, where I live. And apparently the flight that the crew were supposed to get on did have technical difficulties, so they couldn't get off the ground and come to see us. So by the time I got home into my house, it was 3:00 Central Time. So it was a long day, but
it's a long day.
I went into the men's room, did what I needed to do, but I took my phone out of my pocket and put it somewhere safe so it wouldn't drop into, Yes. And I left. I got through the customs, and then once you leave, you can't go back in. So I'm going to get to my car, get the shuttle to my car, and you need to phone them. I went, where's my phone? I got to try and get back in. Fortunately, somebody had found it, brought it outside, and the police had it. Yay! Good thing we have police because they had my phone. But they wouldn't give it to me right away. And I said, well, that's a good thing because maybe I might not have been me. I could have been somebody else's phone, right? Anyhow, they were messing with me, and I was tired. I went along with it. And they said, so what does the screensaver say? And I said, well, it's black. No, the when you lock screen, what does it say? I said, oh, 30K in 30 days. He said, have you done it? What? Yes. Oh, it's probably scammed. Oh, yeah, totally scammed. I was just messing with him. Anyway, I got my phone back, but energy, right? Things worked out. I wasn't pissed off. I was a little annoyed at myself for not being cognizant of things like that, but I was tired and I was running out of, even the drive home, I wish I had, anyway, it's all good. But things happen, right?
They do. They do. And again, right, we exchange a lot of things in the day.
Yeah.
And our energy is what makes it all work. And here you are, offering something extra that you've only had a few hours of sleep and you're back
Yeah,
up, back up and live.
yes, I'm alive. That was one of the jokes. And there was somebody said something, and the way they had said, they were doing a recap on the Friday of what I was involved with on Thursday. I had a client showcase and come and share their story of what they got through working through the focal point system and my coaching content and the course material and how it had impacted them. They hired us to do sales training, and they got that. They wanted a common culture and they wanted to change the way that things were in their industry, because typically it was quite a bit different than what we introduced to them. So they're quite happy with the results, the outcome of it. But one of the things that they were pleasantly surprised and were unaware of, I was not. I knew what they were going to say. Not exactly, but I knew there was going to have an impact on the individuals as people, not just salespeople. And we've changed it from salespeople to sellers. I leverage that for my client. I love that. We are professional sellers.
Yeah.
So I help them become a cohesive group of professional sellers with a common language and a common process so that they can serve and show up at the highest and best level. And so he shared that feedback with us. So I nominated him with the conference committee. They put him in, and nobody was disappointed. It was one of the highlights of the conference for many people. So I didn't have to say much. I was on the stage, and I kept getting praise for what a great presentation. And I said a few things, but in the hour that I was there on the stage, I think I had 4 minutes of things to say, because it wasn't about me. It was about the experience. I wanted my peers to realize that, because there were some people that had resistance to being able to do things virtually. And we did the whole thing virtually. I've still never met the man that I worked for. I've met him this way, but I've never had a coffee or a beer or anything. And people were just, wow, you could do that. Well, yes, we did it. The whole process, the sales conversation, negotiations, back and forth, and the delivery.
And here we are, right?
Yeah, and he was pleasantly surprised that his people have better home lives. They're happier at home. So what I'm a big fan of is, if you're happier at home, you'll be happy at work. And if you're happier at work, you'll be happier at home. They go hand in hand. And one of the things we talked about at our conference was about culture and how it plays a role, and how if you have healthy, good culture, it's magical.
It's magic. And it's
really
also a magnet, right? You will attract people to work for that company.
Yeah.
How many times have you worked with people to find their right fit?
Yeah.
Right? That find something that you are magnetized to. And for the company on that side, it's also for you, it's building a mindset around a culture that will attract something specific. And that is really looking at their environment, right? Because that is the key item in a prosperity business model is, let's build an environment, and let's build an environment that supports the people to be the people.
And we had another client showcase in addition to mine. So mine was one, and then the other one was presented the same day in the afternoon. And both happened to be in the same vertical. But the fellow that came up, Josh, amazing young feller, but everybody's younger than me these days, so that's awesome. He was running his business, and he ended up hiring a coach. And he'd had coaches before, but he wasn't really coachable at that time, so it didn't work out as well. So he even said, I liked the coach. He was great. Just I wasn't ready for it, so I ended it. Fast forward a couple of years, he was at a different place and things were different. And now he was he had his industry rep who'd supported him for many years, who was leaving and going to a different way. And he introduced him to Terry, who's one of our focal point coaches.
Focal point coaches.
Yeah, amazing fella, and in a number of different ways. Anyway, they got together, and what he realized was they ended up terminating some people because they weren't part of the. They didn't fit in. They were wanting to get. They were not showing up. They were not letting people know they were not going to show up. So they were not really healthy for the growth of the company. And so
Right.
they reduced the number on his team, but they worked on changing the culture and getting him to focus on working on the business more and less in the business, and to teach, coach, lead, educate his team. And guess what? Here I go again. And guess what came out of that?
Guess what came out of that?
I'll tell you.
Magic.
Attraction. Yes.
Yeah.
People are now wanting to come to work for him because they heard good things about what he's done. So he's more interested in the people. Not that he wasn't interested; he just wasn't a very good communicator. He grew up on the tools, and then he started a business, and then he's a great technician, but he wasn't a great leader yet. Now he is, and it didn't take all that long to shift. Because if you're open, when the student's ready, and if you attract the right people, the magic happens, and it can happen really quick.
Well, if you've ever put two things together and you can feel that two magnetic items, right, where they have that little polar opposite, then you just kind of flip it and, okay, now they can stick together. When you look at those people on his team, they were actually in the way of them being able to magnetize in order for them to be able to pull in what was there. And I think that's the freedom of magnetizing. It's also to say, let's look at all of those people on your team that actually impede the access points so that you can naturally attract. They went from saying, hey, we've got these positions filled, to saying, let's open these up. Let's free up these positions with people who aren't going to be something that's going to stay attracted and stuck to us. That they weren't connected. They weren't also making it so that we could make room for the things that want to connect, right? That there's only so much space here, that we're only this big right now, and we need everyone to be able to attach to us. That's the right fit, not the things that are going to fall off or that just are in the way. So yeah, that building a culture is what they're amplifying, but making it so that the things that are not allowing you to magnetize to fall away. And that's courage. That's real courage.
And one of the other things that I like about what you're talking about there is whether we choose to be magically attracting or not, we are. And going back to the quote by Harbecker, where thoughts go, energy flows, and results show. We can magically be attracting the stuff that we say we don't want. But the more we're thinking about the stuff we don't want, the more it shows up. It's kind of black magical.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
And you have some other language around that.
Yeah, it's and it works the same way, positively and negatively. And we all have it. It's actually not that magical. It's scientific. It's biological. It's within us. And it's called the RAS, the reticular activating system. And I don't have a picture handy that I could bring up and show you, but you could go and search it on Google, and you'll see the model of the mind. Actually, that's not right. The mind is everywhere. It's
the letter R as in Robert, A, and then the letter S is in Sam, right?
Correct.
A
yeah,
for
absolutely.
Apple. RAS.
RAS, reticular activating system is what it is. I'm just going to see if I have this new mouse. It goes to sleep, saves the batteries. But when you want it, you have to remember to push things so it comes back to life. So the reticular activating system is a net-like group of neurons inside our makeup. And within there's this little node called the reticular activating system, and it's on the near the top of the brain stem and somewhere in here, but here. Like if you drill down, you'd find it. And its job is to manage our system, to manage us, our breathing, all of the living functions that we do on a regular basis. Where it shows up in a funny kind of sort of ways. Have you ever bought a newer car or a new car? Yeah. And you like the new car, right?
Well, I love new car.
Okay, so
I'm a car fanatic.
Awesome. This will be a great thing for you. Now, as much as you like the car that you're in, what I want you to do is forget about that particular car that you were sitting in and look beyond that. When you're driving around, what did you notice?
Oh, every car that looks like mine.
Right. And were you as aware of them before you bought the car as you were when you have the car?
Right. Right.
That's your reticular activating system. It's heightened awareness. So that's why the power of setting goals and having aspirations, having something to look forward to. That's really what a goal is. It's nothing more than that. Don't over complicate it. What are you looking forward to? That's your goal. And if we go after what we really, really want, what we really, really are looking forward to, our reticular activating system will give us clues, turn things on. We'll see things that we hadn't seen before. We'll hear things. We'll be inspired to do things. We'll be inspired to pick up the phone and call somebody or send an email or write a letter. Something will, and if we act on that, it's like what we talk about in one of our core values with the company. Focal point is the pebble in the pond. So when you throw that pebble out there, the ripple effect happens, the energy, right? And if you act on it, don't just say, "Oh yeah, well, I did that," and wait. You got to take action. So taking the action will turn it'll do this.
Right. Takes a problem, turns it challenge, opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing I like is that I heard this a couple of years ago. I heard it slightly different. I said, yes, you expect sales, but I wanted to be more inclusive. I think everything we do involves some kind of selling conversation.
I'm writing that down during our interview.
That's right. You're allowed to do that.
I hadn't seen that one before.
And I got this one and I massaged it from somebody else, Pat Hazel, who's a really genius creative guy. He's written for the there you go. What TV show it is? He's an American comic. He's funny as heck. He had a sitcom, and there was my mind has gone blank.
Well, we'll keep going, and then it'll pop back in.
Yeah. Anyway, Pat Hazel wrote for that show. That the show's not on anymore. But Pat's really a crazy, quick-witted, quick, creative individual. I got to see it in action numerous times when we were in the same space with a bunch of other people virtually, and he was putting up these quotes or these things that came to his mind out of things that were being said by different people, and he put it together. So he said, yes, you expect sales, and I got permission to. He says he appreciated that his creative brilliance was being leveraged and inspiring other people. What a guy! Eh?
Yeah, what fun! Well, isn't that why we're here?
Yes. Well, that's kind of how it happened, right? I think you found me. I don't even remember exactly the connection. I do remember we had a couple of chats text-wise, and then we got together and we're going to have a 20-minute coffee meeting. It was almost 2 hours later.
Oh no! I'm sorry.
I'm not.
It was exciting.
I know. There was a lot of energy, a lot of magic around what we were talking about. And between the two of us, we came up with this idea that once a month we'll hang out, have a session on the Business Renovator on a Monday where we'll bring different people together to do conversations around different things. And that's why I'm looking forward to, I'm pretty sure we're going to do it in May.
Yeah,
we're going to do the wow one, where we're going to get Kellen in on that because she does, her whole business is about cards that wow. Like you go cardsthatwow.com, you can find out more about her. And
we should put it up.
I don't have it here, but I could type it in while you're talking.
Yes, I feel like you can type that into the magic piece because she's also done you've used her work before.
Oh yeah, I use it on a regular basis. Let me get off the here while you're talking.
While we're talking about being magnetic, this is a perfect example, right? Of how do you track things that are to you? How do you do your highest good? And how are new things created by you just being you? And this particular item that Phil's going to showcase you is somebody who loves to do what she does. And so he's been able to share it with other people. And then by sharing it with other people, they've also done business together. So that he brought it to a friend, and then that person went, oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And when you're looking at magnetism in general, you're looking for something that attracts other people to your business, and it will naturally expand. And that is the beauty of magnetism, right? Is that it always makes things bigger. It always makes things tighter. Oh, and here we come. I think this is that he's going to pop up his item now.
Yeah, so it all started with this. And this came out from, gosh, I was back in that same exposure to all of this energy magic, setting goals and going ahead with confidence. And what this wonderful says, it says wonderful, and it's a U instead of an O, because we're not an O, we're a U. You are wonderful and you're unique, each and every one of us, right? So what ended up coming out of that was a version of that, and actually that design and that look is created by my friend Kellen at Cards That Wow. Just hang on here a sec. Let's get rid of that and just show the card.
Yeah. And these are three-dimensional cards that she makes.
Yeah. Trying to show that here. There you go. You can see the shadow of you. Because there we go.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so it's just a blank card. And if you're looking for cheap, they're not cheap. They're packed with value, because the impact that they have when they arrive at somebody's mailbox is amazing. And there she is right there. Cards That Wow. That's out of, but it's cardsthatwow.com.
And you've given some of those to other people.
Yeah, I did, because, I'm really grateful for the people that are helping me live my life dream. And that's helping people bring their success into future, or their I need to go back to New Orleans and come back here. Bring their success into focus, not into future, but it is the future. Bring that here today, and it just makes my heart sing. Is why I do what I do, and I could have sent something that had the Business Renovator on it, or Focal Point, or Coach Phil, but that comes across. That's really about me. And I'm hoping, and when you do that, it's like, even if that's not my intent, it's really how it shows up, in the way of, it's about me, not about them, right? I'm hoping other people will see it and say, well, that's great. How do I get one of those? Oh, you just hire Coach. Well, that's not what I'm really all about. So I wanted to prove, I wanted to give back to the people that I get to serve. Like they chose me. They risked their time, energy, and money on me before they could actually experience it. So I want to give something back. And Kellen's approach to stuff is amazing. So I gave them something like this, not this, but something like that. This is a three-dimensional picture frame. I feel like I'm on the shopping channel in Canada.
I know. And here we are. It's 8 by 8.
Danny White. Anyway, it's this. She gifted this to me. And it has nothing about, well, on the back it does. It's got content. But really, when I look at this, I think of her. And look, I'm talking about her.
Yes.
And she's going to come on and share some stuff. So she's an interesting lady. She's, I won't steal all of her thunder. She'll share a lot of it when she joins us. But she was living in California and knew that she wanted to leave California, because she said it's quite expensive to live there. And but being the mother of a daughter.
Calgary? Did she move to Calgary? Is she in
No.
Calgary with you?
No.
Oh.
Somewhere warmer. She moved from California to Georgia, and she was looking at a couple of places to move and get away from California. I'm trying. Houston, I think I said it right, is where she actually moved to. But she had a goal and she had aspirations, and she stuck to her plan. And the pandemic threw her, her curveballs, but she just, dodged them and carried on and created this business called Cards That Wow. She started it at the beginning of the pandemic. And she's doing it, makes her heart sing. Now she's got a membership site where you can subscribe and get different cards every month. She's got a system for kids and all that kind of stuff. But when she comes on, she can tell us all about how that happened. What I'm amazed by her is doing what she does and how she's doing it, and has grown it into a viable business. Matter of fact, she celebrated, she had her largest order ever at a mastermind group that she was at in North Carolina, I think last month.
Oh,
And it was
at the
like,
card convention.
no, it was just a mastermind of other thought leaders. It was under the
Oh,
Jeffrey Gitomer banner, and there was a whole bunch of different people there. And somebody there liked her card so much they make aquariums, high-end aquariums.
oh, this would be fantastic.
She's made an aquarium card. Let me show you. It's like I'm doing a commercial for the cards of wow. Well, I kind of
Yeah. Cards of wow. Wow. Right. They're so fun.
yeah. And so she's got a gig with them to help them. And so, yeah. So where thoughts go, energy flows and results show. She had this thought, had this idea. She went to school to be in the arts. She's always kind of dabbled in the arts, but never had a career in the arts as being a creative artist. And when she decided to get out of California, she did it with cards at Wow. And now she has a beautiful home, a couple of acres, and her pugs can run all over wherever they want. And it's a slower pace, and it's warm, and people are nice, and she's meeting all sorts of wonderful people. She's wowing them, and they're wowing her. So it's fantastic.
Right. And you get more than you paid for.
Yeah, way more.
And so, right, that attraction of being
It's
around people that were right for you.
yeah,
And so they found her, but she had to be known. I mean, she had to be willing to showcase herself and
yeah,
get through that piece of where I'm a little scared to be bigger.
yeah. And she's creative, passionate, and almost fearless.
Hmm.
Right, almost. Because I think we all have a little bit of trepidation, but I think that's a good thing. We don't want to get rid of it totally, but don't let it hold us back.
Right.
Don't
Right.
let it stop the magic.
I'll be interested to see what she finds as what was the key item that let her go to her wow,
Yeah,
right? Or that made her not afraid to let all of the other things go away. Because right, you know this from your own journey of being willing to say no to things that weren't right for you, or to leave a job. When you think about how you magnetized yourself to saying I'm going to focus in on this business, what what was it? What was it that said I'm for sure only going to go in this direction as a coach? Because you had other jobs.
yeah. The common theme through my journey, and then you took me way back to when I was a partner in a small print shop, and I didn't have the kahunas or understanding or confidence, whatever you want to label it, to get the older partners. I was kind of trying to be married happily. I mean,
Hmm.
and it wasn't kind of working out. The partners expected us to show up on Saturdays and work. And what was crazy about that was the first hour or two, we'd sit around, shoot the shit, drink coffee, smoke cigarettes back in the day when I was doing that stuff. And then we get off our butts, we've done all that, and then go and do a little bit of work. And I'm going, well, why don't we just work harder or more during the week and have the weekends off? But I didn't know how to get that. So the only thing I could do was sell my interest. And I was like talking about being afraid and oh my, what's going to happen? I'll never have another business. This was like the way they set it up and made us partners was good on their part because they were small and they knew that myself and the other young partner, if we didn't have some kind of ownership, we'd bail, we'd leave, and they were right, we would have. So we started another business. They paid us a salary to work on 3 different accounts, and that was job one. We do that, and anything else that came in the door, or we wanted to go market and do any of that came in, we'd split 4 ways, and we didn't have to pay anything on equipment or lease. It was a really good deal.
Wow, great
But
deal.
I didn't know how to grow. I didn't know how to. I didn't know how to live the life I wanted to live. So the only way out for me was to let go. And you were talking about how scary and exciting at the same time that was. It was because I didn't have anywhere to go. I realized that where I wanted to be was in the selling and serving business in a different way. I didn't want to be in the back doing operations and working on equipment and producing stuff. I like the idea of finding people, putting it together, and having the end result. And the smiles for miles is what I really like. So speed up this process, going through a whole bunch of different things, meeting a bunch of great mentors. The one that introduced me to the word wonderful, the way we see it, and other things. He was teaching the law of magic or attraction way back then, before it was made popular by a movie in recent years by on The Secret. And the secret to this is, the magic is to set an intention, have an aspiration that you really want to go after, and go after it. Don't
You have to
just,
go after it.
you got to take action.
You
You got
have
to
to actually have the actions.
and pay attention to the magical messages that are showing up and the people you meet. So, like, we were delayed coming back this weekend from New Orleans because things sometimes don't work out the way you planned. We were supposed to have left by, I think it was 7:30 New Orleans time, and I would have been home about 10 o'clock our time, 11 o'clock Central time. But that didn't work out that way. So you could get cranky, pissed off, upset, yell and scream and dance and whatever you want to do. Doesn't really work very well. Or you could say, wow, this is not the greatest thing, so how can I make it better? So I made it better. I have a contact that I had a great conversation with, learned a bit more about Mexico, learned about his wife, and met her and talked to her about how she teaches English to high school students. And they've been living in Mexico for a number of years, and they don't have to shovel snow.
Never.
And then I was reminded me of a client of mine who deliberately made an intention of wanting to not live in the winters that we have in Alberta. And she thought it was kind of a crazy wish for a single woman of mom of 3 kids, and wanted to grow her business and live in a different country part of the year to get out of the snow. Well, I got to work with her, and we found a way for her to make that happen. So all of that stuff was a great conversation with him to remind me of some of the things I've done, not to be braggadocious, but we go through life too quickly and too slowly. It's particularly around the things that we do, and we take ourselves for granted. It's unfortunate that we do that, because we could leverage that stuff and remind ourselves that we went through this, like, well, I was telling you I lost my phone at the airport and what I had to do to get it back. Yeah, I was a little anxious because I needed the phone to do a lot of things, like get my garage when I get home, to phone the
Car, everything.
yeah, all that stuff, right? So it was a little bit of anxiousness. So I thought, well, the only thing I can do is go back. But once you're out of security and you come into the country, you're not allowed to go back. So this will be interesting. How can I creatively and innovatively get my phone back? Well, it was fortunate because I went back and didn't think, it's not going to happen. It's impossible. I went after it, and somebody had found my phone and brought it out and left it with the police. And I said, have you guys ever made a mistake? I don't know if you have, but I have. I left my phone behind. And then they started asking me what color it was, what's the lock screen saying. And I shared that with them, and they said, have you reached that? And I went, yes. They said, it must have been some kind of scam. They were laughing, so I laughed with them. Yeah, it was a scam. It wasn't a scam. It was by setting an intention and going after it with conviction and never giving up. So I've done that on numerous months. It was amount of money per month. And they said, well, I should come talk to you. Do you have a card? And I says, no, actually, I don't. But you could find me at coachphil.ca. So they said they would. So we'll see what happens.
We would love it.
Anyway.
We would love it. But again, right, you have to be willing to let go of all the things that don't get you to something. But you have to know your direction.
Yeah.
You have to know what it is that you want to attract to you. It's not just to say, hey, there's this thing out there that I want. It's to be able to say, I am the attraction point, and this is what I want to have come to me. Right? I wanted my phone to come to me. I didn't really just want a phone. You didn't want a phone. You wanted your phone to be with you. You want your people to find you. You want the experiences to find you. It's a very different piece of energy. It's really to say, I'm going to pull it towards me, not just to say I'm going out there to get it.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to make me the easiest beacon of light to find so that it can find me, right? No one's shopping for gum in a modern store full of furniture.
No, they're not. My eyes are diverted from the camera. I'm looking for an image that there it is right there. This is somebody, I'm going to see if I can share this.
Oh, that would be great.
This is worth sharing. Let's go. This is by somebody we've all heard of. If you're working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision for you. That's Steve Jobs. Yes, he's not with us anymore in the physical plane, but the phone I lost was something that he came up with. And here's the phone. It was never lost.
And there's the phone. Was it lost?
It was just temporarily apart from me.
And having that vision pull you forward is also really, there's another conversation we can have on a different day about targets versus goals. But again, right, we have to be willing to know that the 90% of the world isn't for us. It's not about us. And we don't need to attract the 100% of what's out there. We just have this little slim perspective. And the clearer that we are on that perspective, the more it will find us. And again, it'll pull us forward.
Yeah. And I've been the sales training and the coaching that I do in and around personal development and business coaching. I'm a big fan of that quote. And I'm a big fan of saying, you don't have to do anything. You don't even have to show up and come to work. You don't even have to pay your taxes. And people look at me, yeah, I do. I said, no, you don't. Well, yeah, I have to. I said, why do you have to? Well, if I don't come to work, I won't get a paycheck. Oh, okay. So you like getting paid? You go, yeah. Well, then shut up and come to work because you want to. And the energy changes between want to and have to. It's subtle, but it's really amazing. It takes the resistance of doing things away. And it makes you more likable, more lovable, and more energeticable. That's a new word.
Yes. And in the energy that actually, it's not just clever. It's really just dynamic.
And people pick up on our energy, right? And I've been guilty of not being on what I'm going to mention right now, and it's really magical too. If you show up with high intention, yes, I would really think it would be fun and gratifying to work with you in your company, but I'm not attached to that outcome. If it doesn't come to fruition today or ever, that's okay with it. When we become attached to it and I gotta have it, it's all about me. It's less about them. And people pick up on that. So when you're attached to something, if you're in the sales world, you'd be seen as that pushy, aggressive, needy, like if you buy this thing, I can get the trip. Well, who cares if you get the trip? It's not about you getting the trip. It's about you providing me with something that provides value to me to make my life better. And when we show up with high intention to do that, and if it doesn't work out that you don't want to do that, then that's okay. I mean, it's just other opportunities, and you're going to be in alignment with other people that'll give you energy and not take your energy. And if you show up that way with high intention, low attachment, you don't have to be selling. Just in anything you do, it's a much better place to come from.
Yeah. And that is, magnetism.
Absolutely. We're almost at the top of the.
We're ready.
It's time to wrap it up. But I'm looking forward to next month, and in all likelihood, it's going to be all about wow. And we'll bring Kellen on and maybe a few other people that she knows that would support that conversation, that dialogue, and see what we can share with the audience out there.
Yeah. And it'll give us a month to think about our wow. And, today, again, I'm always glad to talk about prosperity and all the things that it can bring. And it's so much easier to do when we're all together.
Yes. So let's make that happen. So let's end today and get on making some magic in our lives and other people. And I'll see you in a second. And I'll put you in the green room. Enjoy whatever's in there.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, Mickey.
Bye.
Wow, wasn't that magical? I thought it was. She is a wonderful woman, wonderful person. I can't wait to get back together with her in another month, and we'll bring on Kellen and we'll do the wow conversation. But in the meantime, bringing this back up one more time. Just remember to be wonderful, because you are, and go act like it. Until next time, the Business Renovator. If you liked it, let us know. And if you know somebody that would be has a story to tell, that wants to tell it and share it, let's have an introduction. Let me know, and we'll get them on the Business Renovator. Until then, I'm Coach Phil. We'll talk to you soon.
I get shit done. I have fun. It's my time and I'm the one.